What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. We are back. It's the ESA Cup, and the Whiskey Boys are here to be your tipsy tour guides. I'm the Reverend Whiskey Glitter, and with me, as always, my partner and co host, Mr. Whiskey Run.
That's right. Welcome everyone to the ESA Cup Season 10. This is almost starting to be a familiar spot for us here. It is playoffs, my friend. Match 1, day 1. We filled the same spot Season 9 just back in November and here again for Season 10 and looking forward to it. It is a best of 3 to decide who stays in the upper bracket and who fights down to the lowers.
All right, man, we are getting it started. I'm excited for it. It's the playoffs. This is where the magic happens, Whiskey. This is where the Cinderella stories start, my friend.
That's right. Starting off with Team Sync versus Entropy Gaming in this best of 3. And honestly, Entropy has got to be one of the teams that we have casted the most as part of the entire European console series. They are in nearly every league, every game, and making it to the playoffs. They may have had a little bit of a dip recently, but look to them to be great here as they make it through the playoffs.
That's right. We were just talking about it. Every time I come to the ESA Cup, it seems like Entropy Gaming is the team that like I get the pleasure of casting. So we've seen this team, maybe not this core roster, but this team quite a few times.
Now in Swiss, Sync was definitely the better team. They had a much better Swiss run. They ran that bracket in 3-0, qualifying as one of the first teams there early on. And Entropy, man, they made it all the way to the end. They took every game that they needed, all five, to make it. They won that final qualification game. So they're used to sort of battling it out on the lower side, whereas Sync got to sit and wait for this battle to happen. So the better is it going to be the better Swiss team making it through, or is Entropy had more games, more time, more competition that's going to lead them to victory here in this playoff best of 3?
No, and that also means there's a little bit more VOD available for the lower part of the Swiss run because you had to play more games, just pure and simple. You just had to play, you had to win more of them. So we'll see how it plays out. Whiskey, today's game's going to be an absolute banger. It's a best of 3. Loser is going down to the lower bracket. I'm like beaming for it. In a best of 3, this is not a sprint to the end. This is a you have to figure it out. And it all starts, the story gets told by where we're going. And you can see Nighthaven and Clubhouse off the board, Lair and Border to follow, which means our first two maps are going to be Bank and Consulate. Which, I mean, I'm all for those couple of big maps, really spread open, wide spaces, allows for some very interesting takes.
Yeah, for sure. I love Bank. I'm glad that's where we're starting off. And to me, those first two bands, interesting and expected. Nighthaven, that's the surprise to me, is that has been one of the more popular maps in the console series and through all of ESA Season 10 so far. Why it was banned out first, that's interesting from Entropy, for sure targeting this Sync team. Clubhouse, on the other hand, that has been the least picked map so far in ESA Season 10. Absolutely fallen off the table in the EU console scene is an important map. So not surprising to see that go down. So the fact that we get to go to Bank and Consulate, would love to see it end there because that Decider Cafe, man, has been played so many times as a part of the playoffs and as a part of the season. We've seen a lot of Cafe. Both of these teams hoping to get it done in 2, though.
Yeah, man, I guess that's the big goal. That's the hope. You don't want to have that third map. And these first two, right, really kind of lend themselves to the same sort of game style, right? It's spread open. It's going to be attacks from multiple different points, all really trying to create these choke points against the defenses. And who knows, because it's big and spread out and it's controller, console, maybe Whiskey, maybe one of these big maps, and I'm gonna say it is might bring us out some sort of inventive strats, like maybe some cav play.
Whether or not we see a cab, that's a big question. It doesn't happen very often, but that would honestly be a real treat here for a Monday afternoon in the ESA to start the playoffs. Day 1, match 1. And I know we're working on getting all the players in the lobby. It's almost time. Entropy, are they the perennial favorites in the console scene, or are they going to get shut down by Team Sync? Man, I'm really looking forward to this one.
Well, if ever there was going to be a battle for entropy, right? That known staple, that known quantity, seems like Team Sync has got it kind of lining up. As long as they're putting together some of those very well coordinated attacks, which is going to be the highlight of who's going to win this, right? Everything is defensive sided for the most point. So as long as they're throwing something very well coordinated and well put together, I think this could be a one that maybe needs all three.
Now, when we talk about all three maps, you look at where they've gone from the Swiss stage. Team Sync was in second place when they're coming out of the Swiss stage. So they managed two of their three games in 2-0 victories. Only one went to the all three maps required. The best team in the league, the Ghost Army, they managed to finish off their Swiss stage in 2-0 victories for both. So that's definitely been the story in general going through the Swiss stage, teams finishing their best of threes in two. So we could definitely see that push forward here as we enter into the playoffs. Both of these teams, though, don't want to see it happen. Entropy, this is their map pick, starting off on Bank, looking for a quick win on what is honestly one of my favorite maps.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh, man, devastating news just comes through. Well, folks, you hear us talk about it. It wouldn't be live siege without some live siege issues. Had a bit of a problem with the lobby.
Yeah, I mean, players crashing happens all the time. Matter of fact, we got to watch it happen twice last night in our console cast. Skype managed to have problems twice in a row, but those rehosts happen very quickly at the beginning when there's no round history to input. So expect that one to be done very quick.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about it, Run. The very first map, it's the playoffs getting started, and the teams chose Bank to start us out. What does that really lend itself to? Right. It's got big, wide open spaces. You know, your primary and secondary have been that second floor and that basement area, but we have seen the rise of the vertical. Right. The this first floor, this open meeting hall, at least in some of the PC side of it or the NA gaming side of it, we've seen that really start to become prevalent.
Yeah, the mid floor sites, as sometimes we like to call it, for sure. That's going to be a factor here. And the interesting thing about Bank is it is one of the more balanced maps. And when we talk about defensive and attacker sided, there's a lot of those generic stats that come along with all of the patch notes and things from Ubisoft. But really, when it starts to make a difference is when you get down into the individual season. So in this ESA season 10, Bank is one of the more even maps. 51 to 48, or 52 to 48 is as close as it's going to get to balanced
Mm.
out between these. So this one is very, very close, evenly sided. I expect this one to go not just into the end of regulation, but potentially into overtime to start off map one.
Well, if it's defender sided, then we're looking at it can't be just an attack. It's got to be a statement when they get in here, right? You've got to get those early entry picks. You can't get taken off the window in that repel action. Like you have got to get it going.
All right, here it is. Back in the lobby, fired back up. Here we are on Bank, and the band's coming through. Now, if we take a look again at the stats on where the ESA had ended up, the Shields, the obvious favorites, Blackbeard, 50% of the time, with Monty and Blitz both picking up 20% evenly. So if it's not a double shield at this point, I'm going to be surprised.
Yeah, no kidding. First one off the board, Monty, the walking drone, the mountain. He's Gonzo, which yeah, no surprise. Great at taking space. Great for that server execute when you're trying to get a turtle plan in off that single wall. Just really too good. So he's gone. Wouldn't be surprised if it's a Deimos to or I mean, well, I was gonna say Blackbeard, but Dokkaebi has been surprising us lately.
Dokkaebi clocks in at that number 4, so she's banned 15% of the time, more than double the rate for Demo. So, I guess the console team's favoring the ability to roam as a little bit more as they're trying to clear this big map. So that banning Dokkaebi is going to give Entropy, when they get onto their defensive side, maybe a little bit of room to breathe, and they haven't worked her into their setup. On the other side, though, what they don't want to deal with starting this game off is the Vigil. Must hate
Cooking.
dealing with that boss G.
They're cooking. Absolutely cooking. Get the boss G's off the board. No chance to have one on either side with the Dokkaebi and the Vigil gone. And I'm not saying that's why both of them are gone, but it's very funny. And I'm with it. I hate the
You
boss G.
know,
Get that thing out of here.
that makes me think of man, we don't have to go back and check some of the stats, but the we had seen the Boss G bans in the ESA previously, so that is definitely an interesting little tidbit there that you said it. No Boss G's available. He's 10% of the time banned in general, but that could
Attackers
be
need to
certainly a
locate and
target for
defuse
one
as
of
many
these teams
bombs as they can.
specifically.
Well, it plays into my heart piece. I like it. Okay, the last one, let's
Attackers
round
have
it out.
discovered the location of a
Valkyrie,
bomb.
absolutely huge for holding on to that second floor for that vertical extension, and bringing along that intel, creating those opportunities. C4 to boot. Gonzo, which means defense gonna have to rely on something a little bit different. The alternative to Valk, which will be the Mozzie. A little bit of mobile intel. Back it up with the Mira to really hold on
10
to
seconds
the
to
long
insertion.
angles. And look at this run. Like we said, it's the first floor. We're starting there.
5 seconds left.
I mean, that's the way that they have leaned into it. That's
Attackers
going
are
to be the
moving to
play
defuse
here.
the bomb.
First floor on bank. And which one did they end up going with? That certainly the better site in general. I think the archives still is a little bit of a challenge to manage defending. So the attackers make their way in, having a little bit of fun, right? They're ready for game day here.
Yeah, ready for game day. Brava, Twitch on the board, so a little bit of investment into the drone game to get rid of some of those Fenrir gadgets, try to pop some of those mirrors. We have seen people just be absolutely devastating with the F2. I mean, we're talking Mingo. We were just watching him fry with that in the Jinxie tourneys last night. This F2 is back in action, and more people are bringing it out. When you've got somebody who can be a laser beam with a Twitch drone and the F2, and you're starting to cook with something special.
It's a dangerous combo. We'll see whether or not he's gonna be that guy. Is he gonna manage it from the intel, from the utility perspective? He's got a lot of work to clear, but losing one to the Mozzie, man, the answer for the Twitch drone, and we know Twitch is gonna be so good, such an important part of Bank in general, especially when you talk about clearing that defensive util as we get into that basement, second floor sites as well. They're looking for that Mozzie hiding, not realizing that he's so close, ready to clear out this Brava drone.
That's right, and really already lost one of the Brava drones to a Mozzie Pest already. So, want to clear the rest of this out, and one of them's going to have to make the sacrifice to make sure the clutch drones are hopefully maybe some of your Brava drones in place. So far, minute 18 left on the board, and they're just sitting 5-all, Whiskey.
I love that peek, though. You've got Azami playing behind the Kiba, playing behind the Bulletproof, taking a shot on the stairs through that wall. That is a fantastic peek. And with the fact that they had misthrown Mozzie on the archive side, he's able to push up, gain a little bit of ground. But, boy, even with Azami holding on to that tight peek on the stairs, she gets fried by that F2.
That's right. It gets equalized, though. Ace off the board now as well as they find themselves in a 4-4.
What a floor bang!
3 as they're going to find another one. Nerd goes down. And advantage now over to Entropy as they take a quick swing over to Blue, gets answered back to the equalizer. Legion's on a very low health. His Pizza is kind of scrambling to stay alive and still be relevant. It's a one-tap headshot game, so he's perfect. Another.
It's a huge flank, though. He's rotated back into the basement.
Bomb diffuser has been dropped.
Finds one. Mozzie's able to take him and stuck off that Kiba barrier. The push in, couple of shots towards the
10 seconds to go.
the crouching Azami in the corner, or not Azami, Mira in the corner. There it is. Takes the swing. Not able to find it. A Vector's going to ring out and take one. Mozzie takes it. Call up to Jack, but he can't get through that. He can't get through that Kiba. He's going to be stalled out and left out of the infight.
Yeah, this attacking team had a lot of, we'll call it information util, both on the roam clear from the Jackal, the Twitch, and the Brava. And the thing that they really seem to be lacking outside of Ashe and her two Ashe charges was the explosives, right? Those Kiba barriers just blocking entry, blocking areas to the site, giving the defense all the cover they needed. And Team Synq played off that very well. They pick up a defensive win on that first floor, mid-floor site. And And well played on their part. Entropy put the work in, but weren't able to find a win.
Okay, checked all the boxes, but in the end, defense will find it. Just a zombie being too good. That static warfare. Now they're going to kind of lean into it, run, head downstairs. Arguably, probably, I think, the better of the sites. Divided up between your primary and your secondaries. And with this certain setup, I mean, this is a devastating
10
defensive
seconds left.
combo here by Synq. You lean into the area denial with the Goyo
5
and the
seconds
smoke.
left
That's going to
before
allow a couple, maybe 2 or 3 people to potentially play up top.
Attackers must locate
Only
and
showing
defuse
one
the bomb.
currently, but you don't have to have
Attackers
as many
drop the
people inside
diffuser.
because you can
Attackers
block it. The
recovered the bomb
Goyo's
diffuser.
stopping a bunch of that, right? And then reach to the other side, a zombie and Clash to be utilized here. Really just digging in. Those members can stay down in, bunker up, and just honestly time torch here.
See you around.
You said it, a lot of time wasted, but they're gonna have to be looking there for the Nook as she tries to make her way through that lobby. It's interesting on Bank, it's one of those big wide open spaces, and the Nook being the silent entry, the one that normally tries to make that play. So she's looking for a spot, but is gonna run into the Clash at the top of blue. They've got to deal with the top blue before they're going to be able to get any true vertical control, and that hatch is still reinforced, so they've got a lot of work to do. 1 minute already down, and they do have the Twitch on board, and they need to make sure that Twitch is getting active, clearing out the Goyo canisters down below. They've got to bait out all of that area deny utility.
Yeah, and look at exactly what I was saying. They find themselves with 3 people up on the first floor. Just take up that space and deny that time. Of course, Clash being the one going back and forth. But
A bomb has been
we
located.
see a little bit of damage already. And by a little bit, I mean, we're at like a 5 HP in a dream here for Smoke. But he lives to tell the tale. Keep throwing those canisters, and instead, first one going to ring out. It's the Vector, and it's going to take Nook off the board. Huge first pick.
Yeah, I think Nook thought she had the advantage there, walking in, not realizing she was double covered by the Azami and the Goyo, both holding on. They've made their rotate back down to the basement, took down the Nook, took down the Lurker, wasted a whole bunch of time, got us all the way to nearly this minute mark, and right now, popping the Goyo canisters. We said, important part of this play, they need to work on clearing that, but that the Ella mine up tucked in the corner, the top of blue, they also need to realize from the attackers, they need to be able to clear that out too. So just gaining a little bit of space, even with the Ying, is not going to be able to do it if they run right into that Ella mine and then get pushed back.
That's right. 2 members on blue as the Yings are ringing out. Look for that free kill, but down below he's going to be rewarded with it. And they're going to get both of them.
What a play!
On the board, taking a quick shot towards the head hole, almost amounted in another kill.
Has been dropped.
But Entropy
Attackers
Gaming
have recovered
takes
their
the man
diffuser.
advantage with that one, and that was a huge play. That push was surgical as they made it down blue.
Oh, man, the flanks coming in hot today, taking care of clearing the top of the blue, clearing out garage, enabling the plant to go down. There, they take some shots, hold on to the long angle, and that is it. We are post-plant and shut down very quick, man. After losing control of garage, Entropy just completely exploited it.
Yeah, no kidding. It was just absolute util spent perfectly, right? Ying Candela's come out, Grimby's come down. They are just absolutely flooding into sight, and that's going to take us to a 1-1 as we get tied up here. Map number 1 in this best.
And that was played so well. Taking a look at that replay in the management of the blue stairs, defenders unfortunately got trapped with 2 players. One trying to hold the angle behind the Clash, but the Ying making the rotate down through the hatch. The fact that they got the hatch open, that was the big key piece. Clash let that happen, unfortunately, with the Grim trying to be right up in her face. So they're going to play the basement again, try and hold on. Very similar lineup, only trading out now, bringing out the Aruni as the alternative there from the defensive side. We'll see whether or not they really change up the hold on garage, because losing that garage control was such a big piece of it. They may have been able to survive the blue stairs push, but they couldn't survive
5
both.
seconds remaining.
Yeah, well, the blue stair push was a
Attackers are moving out to locate a
chaos
bomb
of
and
agent
defuse it.
Ying Candela double push. I mean, that was just beautifully executed, and not just amounted 1 kill, but takes the shield and the Clash off the board as well. I mean, that was just a absolutely beautiful push, and pinch move by Entropy Gaming. Okay, so yeah, I like the adaptation by the defense. Honestly, give yourself a little bit of that long range stopping power, that DMR, and we've seen some pretty interesting uses for that, like onto the hatches, really making you waste more utility as you try to get these hatches opened up.
Yeah, just burning through flashes, burning through drones, anything to try and make this a little bit more difficult. But they've got the Azami Goyo combo holding onto this upstairs again. Ace trying to open up some sight lines, make it a little bit more difficult for them to stay alive, holding onto those positions. And they haven't dropped off yet. Still have got Smoke playing the top blue, but they have got to get rid of the Azami and the Goyo holding down. This time, again, we said Ace opening up some of these sight lines to make it a little bit easier to make that push in.
And there it is. There's the Aruni gate on the hatch. It's going to have to waste some Grim Bees. Get it open and run. That isn't even the hatch into sight, right? That is just trying to claim some of that vertical pressure and vertical presence. But the defense is now just almost completely turtled up and turn the side into a nightmare to enter with still a bunch of utility they got to get through.
Starting shock drone.
It's taken a little bit of a slowdown at this point. They are starting to operate just a little bit slower. You can see finally clearing out two of those Goyo canisters. There's the third. Man, down through the hatch. Well played. So, see Aruni holding on to that angle in garage. She's in a bit of a dangerous position. This attacking team knows where she's at and holding the angle. She's playing back for the long spot. They've got a minute left. Cleared out a bunch of this utility. Pings are going out, so we know that this execute is getting ready. We've got players in garage, holding archives, holding office, holding lobby. It's kind of spread out, but the drop needs to happen.
Yeah, but this roam clear is just absolutely going nowhere, right? The defenders are ghosts. They've already moved back into sight, and it's 39 seconds left, and there's going to be the first kill. It's a little bit of a whip, but they end up getting it as the trade rings out, and now pressure on the first.
Oh, wow.
Is going to find one, and body balance is going to be tipped to nobody as Grim goes down. Gets answered back as Ying's going to find one. That's a knife to come out and say hello.
No way.
Now quickly,
No way.
3. The pressure inside a vault. Solo's going to find one, but is not going to be looking behind him as the FQ comes up and says both hello, goodbye, and good night.
And the knife from behind on Clash, that was wild. The flanks are just in play right now by this attacking team. They're just managing this so well, catching the defense off guard. They're playing power positions, but just not watching every angle. And that just unbelievable shutdown in garage, winning the fight upstairs as he tries to make the rotate around, and then there it is, the Clash knife from behind.
Boy, I love a good melee kill. It asserts dominance. It plays into the mental. It's, I gotcha. So, gonna take it up top. Defense gonna try something a little bit different. And to do so, they're really digging in this time. This time with the castle, the Azami, it is trench warfare, and they're gonna be really bunkered up here on the second floor.
All right, second floor hold here as we watch this defense get set up. Bringing out, you said it's trench warfare, blocking off all these sight lines. Pizza and Nerd both playing out the Azami and the castle. Bringing out the projectile denied this time as well. So rather than the Aruni to burn some util, they're going to make sure that Wamai is in play to try and save that. There's a lot of great ace locations where you need to bring in the hard breach to try and open up some of those angles. Wamai can help make sure that those don't hit their mark. So on the other side, they're going to make sure bringing out the Flores, try and clear out some of that utility, hopefully ahead of time. And they've got a bunch of flashes in pocket, hopefully to try and burn some of that. So maybe Nook can get some util out of those nades.
Well, potential first bit of exchange here, Nook and Legion. Right, Legion holding down on the first floor, leaning into that vertical. He's going to have 2 to deal with as Buck and Nook are going to start putting that pinch and move on. And there's a little bit of a sound cue. He's going to start making a drone in, get somebody on that guy, and then start to pinch and move on. Legion gets another goo out as he has no idea that he is potentially being hunted down currently. Yep. Nook's gonna find him.
He got the idea as soon as that drone came in. He tried to make the circle around to the other side of the archives, but just completely missing. It was stuck in the corner. Nook probably could have got him on the wall bang, but just rotated around to make sure she cleared that out instead. There's those ace charges coming in. They're opening up that sidewall. That is going to be the plant location. It looks like they're going for execute into the corner of sight. But they didn't even get there.
Yeah, attackers just blitzing the site with brute force and whiskey. It's working. Find the pinch down below. They took out the hunter and turned him into the hunted, and then just walked up, took sight, and round over. 3-1 to Entropy.
So, a couple things as we're talking about this, and now we're 4 rounds into it. We've seen the full round rotate for the main sites at this point, first basement and second floor. So, what are we seeing? Entropy, this is their map pick, and it certainly appears as though they have come to play and come to win, especially on attack. They knew they were going to start off on attack. We said that this is one of the more balanced sites so far in the ESA Season 10 Swiss and final stage, but the fact that right now, we're still seeing a overwhelming attacking presence here from Entropy says to me that they came in to win on their map pick, fully expecting what Synq was going to bring out to try and put up this defense, and it's not working in the Team Synq side. So you got to change a few things up. I like what they're doing here from going back to what worked on round 1, bringing out the Mozzie. That denied some of the intel, denied some of the utility that Entropy Gaming brought. I love that change-up.
Yeah, absolutely. It's hard to deal with it, though, when you find yourself having attackers that have no hesitation, no fear, just pure confidence behind the gun, and it just makes the execute come in hot, if they even need to get to that point. So it's definitely going to be on Team Synq to start to set it up, or step it up here. What did you say? Did you say this was attacker or defender sided? I can't remember.
This is just slightly on the defensive side. This was the 52-48, so it's about as close as you can get.
Okay. Okay, so the pressure definitely sitting into the hands of Team Synq then.
100%. They're sitting down 1-3 right now. Entropy has met the quota and more, and right now putting a little bit of hurt onto this Team Synq defense. So from a spread out perspective, they're still running a pretty heavy roam game for a basement site. Or no, they're not running basement. First floor. For the first floor site, they basically, besides that elevator's position, is really the only one that was pretty far out. But right now, Entropy just doing a much better job managing the vertical game on top of this Team Synq defense.
Yep, vertical pressure rating down like death from above. They find a zombie off the board. That means no more Kiva barriers to help set up that trench warfare. Candela's coming out. They're just going to get in and start to go for the plant. It's a 5v3. Disorientation is everywhere. Bullets are flying everywhere. The cross is set up. Nook's going to find another one from above. And 2 vertical kills here. And a C4 to ring out just as the damage is being done to the cross. Instead, he will find one. Now alone in a 1v5. Legion is going to have to try to bring this one back, and it is almost all but done and dusted here, except for give him a quick 2-piece. He goes for the thirst instead of looking for the third. Oh!
Yeah, maybe the downed guy feeding a little bit of that intel, but honestly, he was a tough situation when you're talking about that 1v5 scenario. Pizza all by himself in a hatch drop. They knew exactly where he made the drop. But you said it, maybe wasting a little bit of time and just eating that up. And Entropy, they have gone on a hell of a run right now. That is 4 rounds in a row for them on attack on bank.
Man, that first round looked so good, and then it's just been a steamroll ever since. What's the adaptation? What's the change? We're going back down to the basement. And they are making some adaptations here, right? Cade's on the board, which means they're going to put a little bit more respect on that vertical gameplay, try to keep potentially some of those hatches closed. And then the Echo coming out. So Intel, the Yokai drones active, maybe bashing any sort of shield that could potentially, or breaking any sort of shield that might be played. Not going to show them by the attack. So really just trying to have some plant now from a distance, and they're going to double up on it with smoke.
Attacker's objective is to locate a bomb and defuse it.
Yeah, I'm thinking what has been working well for Entropy is I wouldn't say, we talk about the TDM meta of Siege. There was a time period where there was an awful lot of TDM style gameplay. Entropy is leaning that direction. Even though there's been a couple rounds where they've taken the time to work on the setup, taken a little bit longer, for the most part, it's been a little bit quicker of an execute and off the back of some intel. So they're not running in with no intel. They're using it effectively. So to me, that says maybe bring out some trap ops. Something to change up what Team
Attackers
Synq is
bomb
bringing
diffuser
to the
has been
table here to
dropped.
try and slow and catch Entropy off guard. Or at the very least, slow them down. So bring out the Cade maybe makes it a little bit more difficult to try to manage the entry in, but in general, they've done a good job of managing defensive utility. So that's why I like the idea of maybe some traps. So that's the change, but they didn't bring a lot of it on this round. It's all area denial, and you can see right now Entropy is starting to move quickly, opening up all these sight lines, causing chaos all around Team
Bomb
Synq.
located by attackers.
That's right, but they're still slightly pushed out of sight. That extension still in play as both defenders, or both different defenders have access onto the stairs. Make some sort of push towards it.
Attackers recovered the bomb diffuser.
But yeah, I think you're right. Pace setting, that would probably be a win con here for Team Synq. Something to slow them down. Maybe a cap can. A late round cap can would have been beautiful here because it's the last round and a half, so they brought it all. Whatever they thought, this is it. Their final chance.
Cade Claws right now being a little bit of a menace, and interestingly from the Team Synq side, they left all of those walls soft in the server side, so they're going to make it a little bit more difficult for Entropy to get set up on the server side take. You can see them running around right now. It feels a little bit chaotic on the attacking side. That of course leans into that TDM style meta, but they're getting ready for a hatch drop. Whether or not they're going to avoid the blue stair side entirely, but they lose the fight in the garage. That is huge. That's the best opportunity I think we've seen Team Synq have.
Yeah, except for it gets traded out immediately. Now, they've got the Yokais, and they're still looking from the distance. Couple of shots, but we're tied up 3-3 with 30 seconds left on the board. Feeling like a little bit of a pressure situation here. You want to end this 4-2 on the half, or your attacking half is going to be rife with tough gameplay that you have to get through. They find one. Now have the body pounds claimed in the side of the defense. One more is Solo. It's all going to be on Twitch. Makes the hatch drop. They find it. We get ourselves a standard.
Still a hell of a game there from Entropy to start off on attacking with 4 wins in a row, but Team Synq closes out the half with a win on basement. So they did manage to find the adaptations, and I think honestly that big pivotal point in the garage was winning that initial battle. Even though it did get traded out, it avoided having Team Synq all of the control that they needed, and then obviously Solo coming up huge with a triple with that Cade shotty. So that was clearly the adaptation that they needed, or at least hitting their shots when they needed to. Sometimes it takes a little bit of individual heroics to get you over the line. Team Synq finds it there on that 6th round. So as we enter into the Entropy defensive bank, bringing along a very similar lineup with the exception of the Doc. They're going to want to make sure that they're avoiding any of the assists on the Team Synq side, healing everybody up back to the top.
Yeah, but I mean, look
Bomb
at this.
located by attackers.
Just
10 seconds left.
huge bunker down. Patience is key lineup that we got here out of the defense. This is all end game, long game, pace setting operators. Smoke canisters, Goyos. You've got the Yokai drone denied event as well. And then the long range of Mira backed up with some health that'll get you to a full stem. I mean, this is a patience will pay off lineup.
And what does Team Synq bring on their side? The Sens, right? The Grim looking for some shots, and then the Hibana, the Hatch Queen, takes down at the opening pick, and that's the smoke. The area denial denied upstairs. Boy, that is a huge win for this Team Synq attack to start off with. That opening pick and such a pivotal operator on the defensive side to go down early.
It's interesting to see the roaming smoke being played out here in the comp scene a little bit more present, and it's got the perfect setup to do so. Quick drop down the hatch though. is going to see everybody getting maybe back down into sight. We still have Goyo up top, and there's going to be Grim getting taken off the board as Doc is going to find that kill. Man advantage now to nobody as we find ourselves tied up just under 2. This last round.
Now, this is an important part. We saw the observers show it for just a brief moment. There is a ton of defensive utility on the bomb site, just as expected. I mean, it's almost a standard setup at this point for Bank. And right now, Team Synq does not have an awful lot to try and manage it, to try and deal with it. I don't know exactly what that sends wall was for, but there is 3 Goyo canisters downstairs holding on to that server side bomb site, and they've got people in the server. They have got the echo drones in play. So right now, this is feeling like a rough setup from the Team Synq side. They're still working on hatches. It's a minute left. There's a ton of defensive utility downstairs that they have not dealt with.
Wrong operators, wrong push, and potentially a wrong round for Team Synq if they're going to find it now. It did manage to get some of those Goyos as the grenades are starting to ring out. So they are getting rid of some of that utility in place. It's going to be hard-pressed to hit that yokai with a drone from the hatch below. So at the minimum, they're getting rid of the Goyos. At the maximum, they're trying to clear out all of the utility. But then you still have the mirrors that you have to deal with, and you still only have 30 seconds left in which to do it. So util dump incoming right now. They only got 4 flashes in this next one to get it done.
That was excellent yokai play as well. The drone was looking for where the yokai was to deny the plant, but they had it in the garage far away to make sure. And it has stayed alive. There it is. He's going to get the... No way. He missed it.
Oh my gosh. And then the trade's ringing back and forth. 2 defenders go down now into a 2v1. Some hatch play above. They're going to get the down now into a 1v, but it's not enough time. No hesitation and no fear. It's also no problem. Defenders take the time win.
Wow, what a crazy little bit of an interchange there. It looked like the yokai was being perfectly played, making that push in, was going to deny the plant, but then the guns reign supreme. He gets taken down anyway, and really looked like he backed off that plant unnecessarily. Maybe a call from the teammate, hey, you're about to get slaughtered from above. I lost control of the vertical, and then Entropy clearly plays the vertical better. And we're seeing that both on their attacking half and now on their first round on defense. They manage the vertical really well, both through the hatches and just generally controlling that floor above. So Team Synq falling apart a little bit. This is map 1 of the best of 3, and right now Entropy Gaming on their map pick is looking good.
Attackers have located a bomb.
Absolutely. I completely agree with you. And that was anchor gameplay at its finest, locked in and lights out.
10 seconds
Now
left
take us
before
up to that
insertion.
first floor. I'm going to do a little bit of their open site here
5
as
seconds
well.
to insertion.
Going to similar lineup, right? A zombie back on the board. If she stays
Attackers are
alive
heading out
long
to
enough,
defuse a
you
bomb.
really see her dig in off that main, off the bomb chassis there. Hold up on top of the countertop as well. Fenrir to stop you from being able to see when you make that initial push, and then Goyo. Goyo has become the staple of slowing down cast teams. He's such an incredible pace setter.
I mean, the fact that it covers such a large area, anybody can open it. Even the Maestro cams can open those, so combination of synergy between the operators. I completely agree. Goyo, one of the best defensive operators out there right now. And damn, I hope he holds on to that 2.5x as we move into Siege X, which is almost here, honestly. We're getting very, very close to that first event reload down in Brazil. We're going to get the Siege X play out in the competitive scene. First, though, we got to finish out Season 10. What's it going to be? Team Entropy, Team Synq, fighting it out here, and Synq has got to do something, and they've got to move what feels like a little bit faster at this point. We said that last round, and how about staying alive for an opening pick would be a great place as well.
Yeah, that's a tough place to find yourself, and they've got a fortress down below. Exactly what we talked about before this round got started, and a zombie is in there. They're reading this like a book, and the attack team is just not having really anything to answer back for it. It's tough, right? And especially now that a
Look at
zombie's
this.
onto that counter. Is he just holding? He doesn't know. I mean, you have to know. It's a bunch of punch holes.
they know they both the attackers and the defense know that somebody was there, but they didn't quite get a chance to see it. But wow, what an exchange! The drone comes out, identifies where the defender is, they wall bang him, but the call goes out, and the C4 from below evens up the trade.
Yeah, the Roam got a kill. It wasted almost 2 minutes. That's value brought to it. And now you have to get into that Azami, who's got a beautiful hold. Every angle watch, every approach will be punished. They find one off the board, but answered back now into a 3-2. The MP7's going to take Pizza down. Thatchered into a low health scenario with 45 seconds and still trying to play on the vertical. They don't have a way to dislodge this Azami outside of just using those Ash charges. That's all they have left. MP7 going to find another one as Dirt goes down, which means 30 seconds left. And they're going to look towards it. He gets one. Now into a 1v2. 23. This becomes winnable if he can just isolate one of them. Well, somebody got isolated, but it was not.
Wow, my friend, what a play there from Entropy. You said it's the exchange happening upstairs, but right now everything going Entropy's way, including just, taking a fight open on the marble stairs and winning it rather than having one of those close engagements. They didn't even need it. They're going to go ahead and win it direct in the gunfights as well. Everything going Entropy's way, and that has put them on match point scenario here for map 1 in this best of 3. And just everything going their way. It was well played there by the Ash to take down the player on that marble stairs to answer back, but it was a too little, too late scenario. Potentially the last round of map 1, if Entropy can close it out. Team Synq has got to be perfect for 4 to bring it back to OT.
Man, perfect for 4 feels like such a tough call here, right, to make, especially
Attackers have discovered the location of a bomb.
Success just hasn't been there. Team Synq, unironically, not living up to their namesake. It's very disjointed attacks. They're getting picked off one at a time, and now Frostmat,
5 seconds remaining.
Legion Goose, sheer brutality on this defender synergy that they're bringing to it. Ace setters all the way across the board and denying your intel in the process. Entropy is looking to put this one away right.
Yeah, I like that combination of defensive operators. We talked about it being something that Synq needed to look at, the trap ops, bringing out the Frost and the Legion in this case, but Entropy is going to answer back with that in their gameplay style. So the Ace working, open up some of these sight lines. They're going to clear out very quickly the stock side and open up a sight line there. The bulletproof cam's in play to be able to at least give some intel on when they make the push in or the player down below, but Fana's holding on to the upside down rappel. Going to try and get that Kento wall open, and then look for the Ace to try and open up again that main wall very close to the window. That spot we see is sort of become the default plant site upstairs on that second floor bomb site.
Huge first pick by Team Synq. That's what they needed. Grab the entry and then play off of it. And what are you doing, Legion? A couple of misplays here as the rappel action is going to play a pivotal part on this match point round. Finds one kill, does some damage onto the second, and they are still in some power positions here with the attack team. Get even in and get an execute.
I'm surprised that, why did he not take the shot? He looked like he had an angle to be able to shoot the Ace charge off the wall to prevent this wall from being opened up, burn some of that utility, but he lets it happen. That wall is now open. He's going to have to use one more, I think, to try and get a full-length body so he can walk right in rather than trying to vault prompt in. But that was, again, a little bit of a miss, and there it comes out. The Capital Firebolt forcing the player out of the corner. That's going to open up that plant location. So this last minute of gameplay, this time the attackers have got, I think, right now, all of their assets in place.
Okay, so Team Synq's just a better attacking team than they are defending. This is a completely different style of gameplay than we've watched out of them. It's coordinated, it's combo moves, and it's going to find them a round win.
Could have just been the pressure, right? Building pressure builds diamonds at this point, and Team Synq pulling out one round. Now, they've got to be perfect. I mean, maybe we're at the bronze level at this point because they got to find 3 more in a row in order to match Entropy's 6 and send this thing to overtime. So upstairs, it worked. Entropy, to me, felt like was playing, almost throwing that round. We're going to say it. They're holding on to positions that were very, very aggressive
Attackers need to
defensively.
locate and
Sitting
defuse
in the
as many
corner,
bombs as
top
they can.
square, right, trying maybe to catch one of the repellers on the window, but leaving yourself completely vulnerable to the double at top square. That was sort of a wasted position. Same, we saw
Attackers have
the
located a
mute
bomb.
holding on to the angle in the hallway, not shooting the ace charges off the wall, and leaving himself again very vulnerable to the window shots from the repellers. So I think that was more mistakes on the Entropy side. Team Synq at least coming together enough to find a win, but Entropy felt like they almost
10
threw that
seconds
round.
left before insertion.
Okay. This will be the round that
5
determines
seconds to go.
that then, right? Because it seemed like we blinked and they had half the map
Attackers' objective is
completely
to defuse the
covered,
bomb.
and the combo moves just forced these players out of these incredibly difficult pitch point positions. Yes, Entropy looked a little bit lost on that push for sure, but Team Sync seems like they're starting to get fired up. We're gonna see, right? They're opening it up, already starting to get dead. Scopos is just going to get a free kill. Not sure what Team Sync was thinking there as they just completely push in without any sort of drone work.
Yeah, the lack of intel there showing, and Entropy capitalizing on that, and what a huge opening pick. And look at this, they are going to play aggressive, making the run out, going for the jump, wasting a bunch of time, and catching one in the process. So, you know, whether or not it was worth it, they didn't take down the IQ, didn't take down the Twitch. Maybe a bit of a waste, but just shows what level of aggression this team is willing to go through to try to push the Team Sync back. So the F2 answers back. They do get a little bit of a boost here at this point, but Bassie's still alive with that Echo. I've got to keep that PCU till in play. And I love it. The Scopo's still in play as well.
Okay, I'm not sure what we're watching here, Whiskey, but man advantage does go into the hands of Team Sync. They've got a little over a minute and a half left to go, so plenty of time to get some drones in, reassess that situation, and try to clear some way and clear some space to get yourself in the doubled up on the man advantage. The defenders got scattered. Attack was definitely showing some domination, and now as a grenade rings out, they're trying to take this space inside the servers, gonna make the swing, and they're gonna have it. F2 finds another kill. Now got to deal with the long distance of the mirrors. Hold back a little bit far, but Goyo's coming out and stopping that push in, and with a minute left, they can just hold on to these last couple of Goyos. It is going to be absolutely devastating for the end round.
All right, my friend, 52 seconds left. 2 left alive on the defensive side. You still have got the Echo. He's working the drones from upstairs. Is going to drop it down through the hatch, but right now, I thought Team Sync was in a position to try to do something crazy, but they still have 2 upstairs in that admin open area, getting ready for this drop to come down. The Goyo canister is still burning off. 30 seconds left.
Yeah, that was huge. It slows down that server push. And that's definitely where they're going to be making an effort from. They do have, I believe, yeah, up on that vertical, 2 players ready to do damage. 1 C4 still in the hand.
Remaining.
They've made their way in. Gonna try for a cheeky plan off the desk, potentially towards the chassis. Sends gadget goes out. C4's there. It has to be perfect. Finds 1, finds 2. Now into a 2v2. 3 seconds left. Defenders just have to hold out, and it's just Twitch left alive.
What?
And it's not gonna happen. Entropy brings it back. You blink, you missed it.
7-3 victory for Entropy Gaming. A big win here by this team. Congratulations to them to shutting down Team Synq. It's map 1, though, of a best of 3. There is still plenty more Siege to come. But for Entropy to win on their map pick in what was a attacker-sided map, to me was a big storyline here. They won 4 in a row on the attacking side, shutting down the stats, picking up that first map over a team that we said was better in Swiss and was probably the more dangerous team coming into playoff day 1.
Yeah, crazy first map. Absolutely beautifully well orchestrated by Entropy. And now they've set the bar, and they have set it quite high as we go into map number 2. Okay, folks, you know the deal, you know the drill. We're going to get the lobby set back up, and when we come back, it will be the stunning conclusion to map number 2. So sit back and relax. We'll be right back. Ayo.
Level of mining and then get pushed back.
That's right, and 2 members on blue as the Yings are ringing out and look for that free kill, but down below he's going to be rewarded. What's up, and welcome back, fellow Siege spectators and players. It was an electric map number 1 on Bank. Just a little bit of back and forth, a bit of dominance, a start to see a resurgence of a comeback, and then just snatched away at the very end. I just want to highlight some of those defenses by Entropy were just incredible. Like a one-man army with the strength of 5, just holding everything down. You're not coming into sight. And I think Consulate can lend itself to some of that same play. Whiskey, map number 2 is going to be crazy.
Here's the big question. That was Entropy's map pick, and you said it. They were very dominant, both on the attacking and defensive sides of that map. They had 4 in a row on the attacking side and then shut down. And really, the only attacking win we saw Team Synq pick up is when Entropy made a bunch of mistakes, exposed themselves to shots that they really didn't need to, just playing that defensive hand, giving up positions, trying to take advantage of like the TDM style on the defensive side. That's the only place we saw Team Synq really get successful. So the big question for me is going into Sync's map pick on Consulate. Are we going to see that playstyle rewarded from Entropy, or are we going to see a different team that is more prepared coming into their map pick?
You always feel better about going into your home field advantage, right? And Consulate, it's got some tricky stuff, right? 2F feels like it can be a little bit solved, but there's still some tricks to the trade on getting in, claiming that space. And if you've got a solid roam game, a good investment, then those late round impacts players become very vital on this map. Lots of cheeky little places to get yourself with a shotgun hiding around the corner.
And you called it. So this time, Team Synq working on the attacking side to start off with, not unexpected on their map pick. So Entropy is going to hold down and pick up a similar pace. They don't want to deal with the Dokkaebi, want to be able to roam a little bit more freely. It does leave the Jackal obviously still on board, and we did see both of these teams play the Jackal a little bit, but Dokkaebi definitely better with the ability to steal all of that intel as well. Now, the surprising thing was it wasn't a shield. It's got to be here.
Yeah, and there it is. Monty off the board. Really just sticking into that similar lineup, and I would not be surprised if it played out the same exact way as Bank. Lots of similarities in the way that you hold, lots of similarities in the way that you attack, and just certain operators you don't want to deal with. Valkyrie. Valkyrie is a huge person on Consulate because not only does Intel create those opportunities, but is just so devastating with a C4 backing it up and stopping the plant if you're not sussed out below. But this time, a zombie taken off the board, and I think this was a good call.
Yeah, Azami changing the way the game is played. Certainly on Bank, we saw that on the last round, and really for both of the teams. So in this case, Team Synq starting off on attack wants to make sure that they've got a little bit of a ability to open up some of those sight lines. But man, that is I think that has got to be a first here for the Siege double shot. I don't think we've ever seen a Scopos ban in competitive play.
No kidding. And it wasn't even like the big all out factor either. So interesting bit of play there. We'll see how it unless this is a target ban, right? There's plenty, like we said, there's plenty of VOD on
Defenders,
what these
protect your bombs
operators
from
were
being
bringing to the
defused by
table.
attackers.
Maybe Scopos is a consulate goddess. We'll see. Well, I guess we won't see. Banned out. Defense going to start out with some fun operators, though, really relying on that intel, both in the acquisition and denial of such. Valkyrie, Pulse, Solus, all on the
Attackers have
board
discovered the
to
location of a
claim
bomb.
where are your drones coming from? Where is that push coming from? And here's a C4 when you think that you're safe. And on the other side of it, mute to make sure that you don't know where that push is coming from or where that
10
retake.
seconds remaining.
I went back. I was trying to figure out whether or not we saw the
5
Scopos
seconds
ban.
left before
In
insertion.
Season 10 for the ESA, she has been banned one other
Attackers are
time.
moving to
And the
defuse
big
the
question
bomb.
was it against one of these two teams? It's going to take a minute to try and figure out, but that certainly to me is just crazy that we saw the Scopos ban here. And Consulate, it's got an opportunity. There's some great places to be able to use the Scopos, to be able to clear, jump up 2-3 floors. But we talked about it on Bank, the rise of the mid-floor sites. Entropy going to start off on that middle floor here. Piano, an interesting place to start on Consulate.
Yeah, it is, but it kind of makes sense, right? If you're going to hold 2F, if you're going to have that investment into the roam game anyways, you hold 2F or you hold this first floor a lot like you would the second, where you just claim that vertical utility set up and really just dug in. But here's the thing, C4 is going to stop any sort of action. That's the entry gone. King Candel's ringing out, and as they come into the bathroom, that's going to be a kill. Pizza goes down as Amaru tries to take some space. LMG just holding on, and then it just isn't enough. You hold on as long as you want, but as soon as that bullet stops and you got to reload, wham, bam, thank you, man. SMG 11 going to take you off the board. And now, Whiskey, it's a 1v4, and Team Synq back up to their old habits.
Yeah, that LMG is so good. You say enough bullets to kill them all until it isn't. Then when you gotta reload, you are done. And that is a very dangerous place to be able to hold on to the defensive spot with angles from both the yellow stairs and the spiral stairs. It is sort of a little death corridor outside the building. And Entropy Gaming comes up big on round one. Boy, off the back of some C4s and just well-positioned defense.
Yeah, defense is layered. Entry fraggers get through one setup just to hit another, and it seemed like the defense knew exactly how that push was come out. They laid those traps hours ago, saw it
Defenders, protect your
telegraphed,
bombs
and
from
then
being
just
defused by
responded
attackers.
beautifully. Huge first round by Entropy Gaming. Now they take it up to the second floor and run. This is where I kind of have that controversy, right? What sort of area denial do you bring to the second floor of Consulate? You see it go back and forth. Some say the smoke. Some say the Tachanka, some say the Goyo, and in this case, they're bringing all three. You're walking into hell with this one. Traps, angles, and bullets.
Walking into all three. It's the third layer of hell upstairs on
10 seconds
Consulate
remaining.
now. This second floor site is definitely a difficult one to manage
5 seconds
from
left
the
before
defensive
insertion.
perspective. There's a lot of angles, and there's some very good takes here. You've got the
Attackers are
quick
moving
plants
out to
on
locate
two
a
of the
bomb and
windows.
defuse it.
You've got the admin overtake, and I'm definitely on Team Tachanka's side for holding on to the second floor. I think he's just got a lot of versatility because there's a lot of long distance area that needs to be covered, but when you have to choose between them, I say just lean into it and pick both. Look at this, the Goyo downstairs. He's used up all of his canisters. He's in this passive util state. He can afford to throw his life away. Not willy-nilly, though. He's going to hold on and wait. Trigger discipline with that impact for the perfect time for the run out.
Right, okay, so doubled up, both of them poised and ready, knowing that some early round aggression is almost all but assured as Entropy is really starting to feel themselves even after just the first round. They make the entry in, the drone is starting to see if they can locate any of these defenders, and look at that. Yet again, rewarded 2 for 2. C4 is going to ring out and claim the first kill.
Okay, answered back. Synq there, picking up that DMR kill. Man, this is an important part here, but man, Entropy, just the trades coming out like crazy right now. They cannot find an advantage.
And bit of a hot drop in more ways than just one. Goyo canisters going off, to Chonka fires ringing out, and if you thought the attackers were going to play it slow and surgical, they were not. They're getting in, they're taking space, and almost partially paying for it. Diffuser is now down cold in this 2v2. However, they just take the man advantage. That's the bandit that goes down, which means Tachanka, the last alive. Now, he doesn't have the LMG, which I think could prove to be the impact here. He is a little bit quicker, able to take a little bit more gunfights, and he still has all 20 of those in hand. It's a 2v1. Low health scenario for the Deimos, which means they're going to be able to ping him out, figure out exactly where he is, and have the homie push up. The power of friendship trying to see this round.
Yeah, Deimos here is the problem, certainly, for Tachanka. The fact that he still has 2 drones left available, and there's Thunder Breachable Floor down below. He can just walk around and take some shots, distract Vasi upstairs. While you said it, Solo can go hunting, and that's absolutely need to do. But interestingly, they're not pushing this advantage. Potentially, I was going to say, go for a plant. He's holding on to the case. He could do it, but with 29 seconds left, it seems like certainly an easier push here to try and take him out.
That's right, plans going down, the cover was set. He's gonna make the swing in, and now into a 1v1. These fire looking like a bigger option here. Takes a quick swing, it's the pistol popping, but Entropy
Tachanka wins
it out in a 1v2. Tachanka slows things down and wins another round. Crazy.
All right, there it is. The check mark in the Tachanka column upstairs denies the plant, wins the gunfight almost at the same time. Well played there from the defense. Entropy picks up another upstairs, and this one looked a little bit closer, but the trade's happening just a little bit too quickly. And I'm surprised in the way that Team Synq played that 2v1 scenario with 2 Deimos drones in hand. They certainly had what seemed like enough time. I mean, we were talking about it at a minute 5 left on the board when it was a 2v1 scenario. That was plenty of time to be able to try and make the push. So this time they're going to say, all right, let's rotate it, go down to the basement rather than play the split site as they finish out this 3rd round rotate. Team Synq trying to get something working here on the attacking side now. From a stats perspective, we said early on for this map, this was one of the more defensive-sided in the ESA. And I look back during the that previous game, when was Scopos banned out? Only one other time. It was on Consulate, so it wasn't either of these 2 teams, but maybe there's a pocket strat we don't know about.
Eventually, right? So taking it down to the basement. They've been pretty perfect for 2 rounds in a row. This time, Vigil's going to be on the board. Banned out during the first map, and he won't be rocking the Boss G, which honestly, I think it's the right call, right? If you've ever listened to us talk about Vigil, the 1vx scenario, just too tough when you've got only the Boss G on board to try to bring it back. So a better option means you can put yourself into a better multi-kill position. He's up on the 1st floor, aided by Mozzie, and then an investment all the way up onto the 2nd as well. Goya, none of those spiral stairs. Let's see that first engagement with Solo here.
I love running the Jackal here from the attacker perspective, but this, Goyo, he's holding on to this position. They knew he's there. The fight is going to happen, and he wins that! The Vector wins it!
Jeez, what a little tapper, and they're rewarded with 2 as Jackal and Sens go down. Body bounce now tips into the hands of Entropy. Quick swing up yellow, a pre-fire, and a shotgun to answer back, which means Switch goes down, shield on the back foot. Pistol popping does come out, but it's a low health scenario, and he's going to be alone on an island trying to bring this one back. Good for 2, though, as the pistol popping headshot rings out. Diffuser's cold. So he's going to have to do his best to try to isolate, and it's only going to take just a hit from that. No way from that C4. He gets another down. That's 3. He's on pace for the ace now as he's trying to bring this round back into contention. Tubrow trying to slow things down. The C4 into the hands of Mozzie to try to send this blitz sky high. Without a sword. Be able to start making his way, pushing in without being encumbered by the long shot. Trying to get it. That's
no way, they waste it.
That is out. What? Yeah, what? Because he threw it into the Tubrow? Crossfire is set, though. Not going to be able to get through. Man, started bringing that back with some real efficiency.
Yeah, that one better played in the 2v1 scenario there. Yes, you're up against a blitz. It's a little bit easier to try and manage it because he doesn't have such a devastating weapon. But the fact that, unfortunately, man, wow, what a replay in slow-mo there to see how close that was. But, boy, this battle that happened with the Tubrow, yeah, tossing the C4 and looked like what is a huge miss into the Tubrow area of effect zone and just shutting it down prevented the C4 from being useful at that point. So a little bit of wasted util. Nita gets close to it, but can't come up with the ace. Honestly, that was a
Located
tough
by
battle
attackers.
trying to pull it off with a blitz. And now they are down 3 after picking up, I mean, what was a lot of action there on the first floor. So a little bit of a heavier roam game and not unexpected from Entropy. They're playing the full 3 floors on this map.
Yeah, absolutely. And kind of really just a heads up
10
play,
seconds
right?
left before
Entropy starts losing bodies. When you feed a blitz one
5
at a
seconds to
time,
go.
he's going to absolutely eat. It's just tough to get past that flash
Attackers are
and the
moving to
quick,
defuse the
insane
bomb.
action of the pistol. So instead, they lock it down, they set up their crosses, bait out with a C4, and then manage to find themselves around. So, 3 up, 3 down into the hands of Entropy. It's on Team Synq now to find the adaptation, readdress, and reassess.
Taking some shots from the upside down rappel, but the Entropy Gaming team escapes with very little damage at this point. So they still have got the pulse. And look at this, 4 C4s and a bulletproof, plus the Valk. They have got a ton of information to try and gain where all the Team Synq players are going to be. There's tons of reachable floor, and you can see on this first floor site, they're expecting a little bit of a top-down clear and use those C4s to their advantage. You got them playing upstairs on the 2F and this first floor, so looking for the engagement, looking for the drones right now. The Team Synq is going to have to work the IQ, work the demos, and try and clear out the roamers.
Yeah, and this is going to be huge, right? That C4, we talk about it. Intel is information creating those opportunities, and they have got just a multitude of it, and that's only going to take one, right? It's only going to take one, and the attackers are going to stall out, and that utility drain is just going to absolutely destroy that momentum. So this first pick going to be absolutely vital into how the rest of this round is for sure going to play out.
Yeah, to me, you need the IQ to use all of that information, make sure that she clears that out, and then keep Deimos alive to be able to try and push the defenders out of position. But then Ace has got to do his job. He's got 3 of those Selmas open up the sight lines, and there's one. They catch Pulse off guard, playing downstairs in the spiral stairs on the first floor, so that was a huge piece. Again, a little bit of the overconfidence coming out from Entropy Gaming. He's walking around the middle of spiral. Doesn't look like he had any of the intel that Ace had moved up the stairs.
Yeah, the roam game is absolutely disgusting, and they've wasted time. They've taken names, but first kill has went to the favor of Team Synq. One of their best opportunities, but a vector to ring out and claim one, as Mira's going to find it. The Deimos ping's going crazy as they found themselves on that basement, trying to shoot up into that vertical as well. And what? How does he get away with that? The Solus shotgun takes a free swing and comes up with one. Body bounce back into the hands of Entropy Gaming, and now those C4s starting to do that ever-present and clear danger. They get IQ down. They're going to take one off the board, so into a 3-2 technically, as
10 seconds to go.
potentially recoverable, but maybe not. Deimos making his way up to the yellow stairs, going to take the fire. 6 seconds on the board. Valk shot from behind, now into a 2v1 scenario, and he just gets the plant down. Top, they're going to be able to make that drop.
Attackers are activating.
Is going to get it off in time.
Defenders have located the
It's
diffuser.
2v1. They got the down. It's an easy peasy, both lemon and squeezy.
Wow, they don't. Yeah, I was gonna say that. I don't think they knew that IQ was down at that point. They're walking around looking. Who's gonna pick up the KD? No, they're gonna go with the smiley face on the wall to finish her off. Balance out the KD, the counter defuse in place, and the defenders pick up another one. Even though it was a very quick post-plant scenario, Team Synq right now just completely out of it.
Man, retake was clean, coordinated, and merciless. Just how you draw it up. And speaking of drawn up, it was a smiley face to end it. 4 up, 4 down. Entropy is just firing on all cylinders right now.
So they've matched their in a row round count at this point. They won 4 in a row on that previous map, and then Team Synq was able to come back and find an answer. So we've seen the full round rotate. First floor, second floor, basement, now back to the first floor. So Team Synq looked like they got a little bit closer. They did get the plant down, so they made some progress here on the first floor. That's the big question is, can they do the same now in the second floor. Can they hold on to find a way to play this? I- Right? They tried the admin overside. That didn't seem to work out very well. So now, are they going
10
to try a
seconds
quick
left.
plan? Are they going to try one of these windows? Try and burn some util. They're
5
showing
seconds
the
remaining.
Sens right now, but not the Amaru, not any of the other quick plan operators.
Attackers
And
objective
we need
is
to take this
defuse a bomb.
back to the traditional point, right? Get active with the guns. I mean, step number one is going to be both Blackbeard and Nomad coming up with their first kill, as they can't seem to buy one inside of 4. 2 members killless is difficult and is part of the reason that the scoreline sits as it does. You can see it on the side of Entropy right now. Every person at least getting involved in the process.
Vasi, the highlight here, playing the Tachanka again, sitting at 6-2-0, yet to find a death in this entire map. The Team Synq side, man, they are really struggling. This is their map pick. They expected to start on attack. For sure, the weaker side, we talked about it. More than 60% defensive win rate here on this. One of the most defensive side currently in the ESA Season 10. So we're expecting the attacking side to struggle a little bit walking into this one, but right now they have got to do something. They've got to change this thing up if they're going to try and push this map 3. It's not a win or go home scenario. We talked about it. This is the upper bracket. You're going to have to start a lower bracket run, though, and if they lose, and it's real early, start that process.
Okay, plenty of area denial, and they're going to start to see some of those canisters coming out, stalling this admin overtake. They've got plenty on board to do just that, stall it out. This is the time torch. They've got an absolute wall of denial on that midway point to make it really. Blackbeard, though, to start opening things up with a little bit of soft breach. A Vector's going to ring out and claim one. That's Solo done and dusted. They'll remain on 1 kill inside of 5. Man advantage now into the hands of Entropy.
Solo had 1 hero round on that previous map, but since then has really struggled to get anything going. And if I had to say anything about this Entropy defense that was struggling a little bit, the interesting setup with the deployable shield, not on the vending, a little bit further back on the long desk, but no projectile deny to try and manage that. All right, a little bit of back and forth. There it is. Pizza going to find another, and we talked about the projectiles. The nades coming out, finished off. So now, Tachanka, Goyo, the fire, all that's left on the defense.
That's right, and you're going to see Nomad pick up 2. That was part of the win condition met. Now Blackbeard finds one, puts us into a 3v1 scenario. They'll be in their best place to potentially find a will. A little bit of self-fire comes out as the panic starts to set in. They're going to get Goyo down, which means Tachanka now is going to be the last alive in this 1v5. They've got him locked in the closet, knowing exactly where he's at. Flashes come out. Team Synq looking to try to find one. A couple of pre-fires. Cross is set. He's going to find one, but it is going to be taken off, and it's going to be Nerd finding their first kill, and that can potentially be a momentum shift.
That's right. We said Entropy had found 4 in a row. Their max. Team Synq needed to shut it down, and they pull it off on round 5. Find that attacking win. It's a defensive-sided map, so if they can find a second, boy, what a change-up that's going to be. This game was all Entropy for that first 4 rounds. We were talking about the death, the lower bracket run for Team Synq, but 1 round is all you need to start that momentum. The pendulum swinging back the other direction. They've got to keep it going, though. That was a second floor defense. Entropy's going to try it one more time, running a very similar lineup again. No projectile deny, but doubling up on the fire and then tripling up on the area denial.
No kidding. This is back to the first one that worked, right? All denial, all area, and some intel to go along with it. On the last attempt here, it just forced the defenders back farther and farther and kept picking them
10
off.
seconds to insertion.
Will it work again? I think it's going to rely on a bunch of the
5
same
seconds to
standards.
insertion.
See those 2 players get active on the scene, claim that early man
Attackers are moving
advantage,
out to
and
locate
then
a
try to
bomb
ride
and
out.
defuse it.
So they've got one of the deployables top yellow. I didn't see if the other deployable was, I'm assuming, close to the vending, or whether or not, again, they pull it back closer to the desk on the other side of the spiral stairs. So that's a little bit of a question mark. Which place is it going to be? Where's that thing going to end up? But the shields, this combo of the Blackbeard and the Deimos, I think, is a great overall lineup. VOD running the sends again is interesting. Doesn't feel like he's had the impact that I think they really were looking for him to have. Not really blocking off any of those sight lines. But I mean, when you're talking about impact, Nerd and Solo right now still sitting at that 1-1 scenario. Bassi and Teppen finally managed to find a death for the first time in this map, but it's a long road here for Team Synq.
Yeah, they're looking to find that first mistake that they can capitalize on, and that's, of course, what's going to separate the good players from the bad. How do you react in those situations? First moment, though, done and dusted. They've taken up some space. They've claimed admin with relatively no effort needed. Zero utility being forced out here. Zero gunplay being had. So, I mean, they got to know it's coming, and they set the fires off early, which means, man, they're going to have struggling in the end of it if they're done early.
Yeah, they've given up a lot of this map control, and again, what feels early. And the other thing is we're seeing the smoke canisters come out. That was one already burned. There was a minute 30 left in this round, and no real serious push there from the attackers up onto the door. But that is clearly the place where we're going to see the push come in. Got to try and make it through these doorways, though, so that's why they got to take control of the center line of the map. But man, Entropy coming back with a quick 3-kill combo.
That's right. That's why you clear below. Impact just had. Now, Nerd is able to find 2, which brings it a little bit closer. A 1v3 definitely feels a lot better than a 1v5, but Blackbeard's got to be on pace for the ace, and every shot has got to hit. And they really just have to feed him one at a time for him to bring it. If not, they just hold on for the next 40 and the power of friendship. This round in Entropy. Trying to bait out. Thinks maybe a C4 could potentially be on board. There's the yokai drone. This is what it is used for, this shield. One of those blasts is a full shield break. Takes a swing, but doesn't wait for the yokai drone. And they're doing a whiskey. They were feeding him one at a time. But an impact comes out, and a Pokeball's gonna say, I choose you, Blackbeard. Entropy finds another win, and now have put themselves in a very, very wonderful situation. They're 1 away from match.
Now, this is the Team Synq map pick. If you're just joining us, welcome everyone to the best of 3 here at the ESA Season 10 playoffs. Play Day 1, Match 1. Entropy did pick up that first map win on Bank 7-3 in a fairly dominant fashion on their map pick. Team Synq, expecting to start on attack here on Consulate, has now got the better half, the defensive half. But you said it, in a 5-1 down scenario, that is going to be very difficult for this team to make the push back. They're going to have to be better than average, coming up with 5 in a row to hopefully try and get close to pushing overtime and maybe catch Entropy off guard. The thing is, we haven't seen that at all, really, in any sense today. The rounds that we see Team Synq win are the ones where Entropy overplays their position and throws it a little bit. So how's that going to work out when they're on attack? Again, expect very much TDM focused. Entropy has been quick on the entry side, and really no traps again on the Team Synq side.
Yeah, that's, I think, the big miss here is we're not really setting the pace. Yes, there's area denial on, but that's about as far as it goes. So if they had something that was going to force these defenders to look at every single door and window that they're coming into, or maybe some, you know what, and it's not always the right call, but maybe a bit of a spawn peek, something that's going to apply that ghost pressure, that's going to slow down Entropy, because once Entropy spots the gap, they are all business after that.
Heard the magnet activated this time, bringing a little bit of projectile deny, and the C4 coming out. They only had 1 on the board, but man, it gets a 100% win rate, claiming the life. That's a huge opening pick here for this team. Working on clearing some of the utility on the admin overside, but to lose the hard breach, going to make it a little bit more difficult for the attackers. They're going to have to focus on those doorways directly and hopefully open up some of this soft breach with the Flores.
Yeah, get rid of some of this extension utility as those Rotero drones start to come in. They don't have a mute on board, so this deployable, wait, hit it with the Rotero drones, guys. Yes, we can throw a grenade out. Did it get the deployable off of it? Well, my discs are gonna stop more grenades from coming out, and that fire's gonna slow it down. I really hope that this deployable got dealt with. Now force them off, but they're gonna whip the shot.
No way,
Whipped
whipped
all the
it
way
twice!
back onto the vending. What a tough spot, and now they have solidified the hold. The grenades are gone. All they have left is the one Rotero drone and a couple of flashes starting to make a push up, wait for the swing, a little bit of damage done. Quickly there, flash comes out, but it's Warden special goggles for special plays. The pistol might be a miss here as he keeps making that swing. Just playing with emotions, allowing the
Just
play to come
ego
out. Pizza's
peeking.
gonna take him off the board. That's gonna see Flores with some damage done now as the smokes come out, and Team Synq looking really good as they find themselves in a 5v1 into a 5v none. Flawlessly done by the defense up on 2F.
Boy, flawless victory, putting them in a 2-5 scenario. That's what this team needed, building up a little bit of confidence. And again, it felt like you said it, guys, what are you doing? Use the util that you've got in play. You had the Flores, no mute jammer, but then the epic, unfortunate whiff there on the Blackbeard as Warden dodges his bullets not once but twice, crossing in front of the angle that he's holding. So gives Team Synq that opportunity. They take advantage of it, pick up a win upstairs. Now we're going to see defense in the basement. So we said it, very much defensive sided statistically. Team Synq on their map pick, looking to come back in a big way, but Entropy is still one round away from match point. They just got to clutch up here on attack.
Run, it was classic bait and switch. I love it. One swings, one covers. Both end up getting a kill as they try to go down that hallway of death. Man, just a beautiful round by Team Synq, and looks completely different than what we were watching on their attacker side of this. So take down to the basement. We're going to see the shield being brought back out, and this time Entropy still leaning into that intel. Right, on their defensive path, they had all kinds of intel, yokais, pulses, cameras everywhere. The Valkyries, this time 6 SAM cams going to be on the board to be able to be utilized, and if they can figure out where this Vigil is hanging out at, grab that first kill, Entropy could be looking pretty good for this round.
All right, my friend, a stacked 5 apiece, and the shield's coming out. This time, going to opt for the Blitz rather than the Blackbeard. Going to take the fight direct to that Vigil, and what a swing around. Wow, what a huge play to distract the Blitz and then answer back with a bit of a flank. So Team Synq right now firing on all cylinders. Entropy going for that quick execute, or at least a quick entry with the Blitz, and shut down.
Homer's causing chaos run. They may not always get kills, but they win the time battle, and in this case, they do both. Now, it does get equalized. Castle does get taken down as we now find ourselves in a 4-4 situation, just under 2 minutes. To find out which one was the better kill. Castle already got his util down. No, maybe not necessarily. Blitz is the spearhead. That's tough.
Hey, relegated to the cams, and there's a bunch, but right now we could see Zero get a few more of them out. He's still holding 4 in pocket right now, but look at this. They're going to use the thermite close to the hatch to get that thing opened up. Well placed, well played by the thermite to make sure they definitely got that hatch open. They're sort of avoiding that main breach, not going for it right now. He still has got one of those thermite exos available. Whether or not they're going to go for the main breach, a bit of a question, but they are certainly playing the vertical. We talked about this during Bank. Entropy is good at the vertical, and they're holding it here on Consulate.
Yeah, that's the big part, right? Try to create that fish in a barrel scenario. Force these defenders back, and now that they've claimed that vertical, now if they push them into the kitchen because all of this intel, because they've got yellow control, because they've got main breach and the vertical, they can push right up onto the chassis and start to go for the execute. So while it is 4 alive on both sides, it starts to get a little attacker favored with how spread out this is.
And now they've got all of that intel down, all the SAM cams out, and you can see Blitz is just flipping through those cams, trying to find who is the right place, which is the right one to watch. They've got the main breach open now as well, and a lot of this util cleared out from the defensive side. You got one holding pillar in the last 10 seconds.
Man, and they get the down, but it's answered back. Solo's good for 2. Up top, gets taken off the board. Now into a 2-2 scenario. Glance going down 1 second. They have to stop it. The vertical, the C4, he finds it. Defenders get another one. Ow.
Damn, that one came down to the wire. The final few seconds as the plant goes down, it looked like it was going to be an Entropy pick, holding on to that vertical play. And boy, look at that. The down on the pillar was huge, but the trades happening upstairs like crazy. That double from Solo is the reason that they stayed in it. There was way too much vertical hold before Solo picked up that double. That made it a winnable scenario with Nerd able to clean it out on the bottom side. Not with the C4, does it with the gun. Team Synq picks up 2 in a row on their defensive half. We knew this was going to be a good half. We knew this was going to be, for this team, their map pick, their place to own it and win it. You're going to see Piano now as that third defensive site.
Oh man, even with sight falling apart, even with the execute coming, they didn't give up and they come up with the win, and now they are within striking distance. Now they're within 2, and that starts to feel like this is maybe becoming a little bit of a game. The attackers had the utility, they had the space, they had the real estate, and they lost it anyways. Huge counterpunch by the defense on that flank.
All right, and boy, we talked about it during Bank. We talked about it at the beginning. Having the Kapkan, the traps on board, this combination of the Kapkan, the Fenrir, and the Legion, slowing down Entropy. And this is the first time we're seeing the Kapkan on either map, so there's a good chance that they may not be ready for it, or at least looking for it. They're certainly going to pick it up here early on in this game, but look at this, the Nook coming up and running the Shoddy.
What are you doing? It gets them a kill, but it's traded out immediately. Mute goes down, your spearhead's gone yet again, but they still have the double shield duty, so able to still maintain that pressure at the top of yellow. They took the real estate, but man, the Nook Shoddy feels like a miss. He could have had a
Yeah, not backed up, but what a flank from Solo up the stairs. Again, a double with the SMG-12.
Defenders are giving up that map control just to get baited, or just to bait them in. And they find one down, now equalized yet again. It's in a standoff, Whiskey. It's a 2v2. Amaru and Striker taking on Legion and Warden. And it's one of the top frags on the side of the defense. Legion is starting to get absolutely active. He claims it for both sides, attackers and defenders. Making his way back down to side. Solo with a little bit of damage. Minute and 20 left on the board. That rotate saved the round. Will it complete it as well?
Okay, so you still have Amaru holding on to the those couple Gara hooks, but I'm not sure that they're going to be supremely useful here. Holding on to this upstairs site, they're going to make the drop into Piano. And problem is, they do have Case, but they need to clear out these defenders. I don't think they know where they're playing at. There is no C4 on the board, though, and that's the diffuser going down.
Yeah, man, just when you start to think it's over, they get in and they make a plant, and that's going to be some damage done. Now it's a low health scenario for the defenders. As attackers become defenders, defenders become attackers, the trade comes out. It's a quad kill, and Entropy's going to find it.
Man, what a huge quad coming out from Solo. Man, we said his name early on that he had one great round back on Bank that kept his team in it, and then was struggling to get anything going on console, but shows up huge on round 9. But even off the back of a quad piece, it was not enough to keep this team alive, was not enough to keep them in it. And unfortunate, you're right, there's no way that that shotgun wins at the long range. Pulls out the deagle, loses the battle from a distance. That was an unfortunate choice, but man, Solo, the play of the game, but the fact that it couldn't net them a round win is tragic.
Absolutely. You know, they're starting to do a good job at stalling out the time. They're winning the trades, or at least coming equalized, but Entropy has just got an answer for everything that Team Synq is doing. And now, Whiskey. It's perfect for 3, or this one is done and dusted.
Boy, this feels like a familiar scenario. This is where we were exactly one map ago, 6-3, and we know how that one ended up. Entropy Gaming win 7-3 on Bank. But the difference is we're on Consulate, we're on Team Sync's map pick, and they're on the defensive half. It's certainly possible they're going to pick 1, 2, or maybe 3 more rounds to send this thing to OT, but they have got their work cut out for them. They have got to make the right choices on ops, the right choices on where they're playing to be able to hold off Entropy for 1 round more.
Okay, defense, denial, area. We've seen this out of them before, the same exact setup. See if it's going to have that same sort of feel to it. Entropy, when they were playing this 2F, it was 3 or 4 different sorts of area denial. Just going to deny you from getting in the site. Only 2 of them on the board here. One of them smoke. The SMG-11 devastating the shotgun close. Claim some vertical space here. They're setting themselves up for not a quick rush. Definitely a quick execute.
Absolutely, they're looking for this second floor window. They're going to start baiting out util, clearing it out, and right now there's not enough blue lines, outlines here close holding on to this angle. They have the area denial in the smoke, but I mean, is Nerd close enough? Maybe, maybe not, but free cam showing there is nothing left in that spot to be able to try and catch it. There's the Amaru coming in, the C4 goes out, but she's protected. The air jab's coming out. This is the plant going down.
No way. It is a quick execute, and that's going to be the first bit of damage done. Is Warden going to find his life forfeit? Solo's going to find that first kill as Grim is taken care of. There's a shotgun close. They're going to have to put themselves in position to get themselves outside. Air jabs go off again. Quick trades back and forth. Now into a 3-3. Have to have 7 seconds on the board. They jump out.
What a run out!
One. Ram the last alive. Team Synq trying to figure out if they can stay into it. They get to half. They clear it. And a defensive win is going to keep them alive.
No way. The run out wins it there. Precisely played. Amazing. I thought the air jabs are going to win it there for the attackers, knocking all of the defenders back, but the run out claims 2 and traps Ram outside of the site, not in a position to be able to try and get back, but Smoke playing in the smoke, counter diffusing, no opportunity for anybody to try and make that direct push on him, and we said they needed to be perfect for 3. They pull off 1, get themselves 1 round closer. They still have to be perfect for 2, but they've eclipsed their round count from back on Bank. 1 closer, my friend.
Okay, man, now it starts to get real. Now the pressure starts to mount. Now Team Synq can see it. It's within their grasp. They can almost smell map number 3. And they got to get through 2 more to do it, and they have got to be perfect. As Entropy is firing on all cylinders.
10 seconds left.
It's going to be a classic hold here. Little bit, or a classic take here. Open up the main breach. Open up the vertical. Get rid of the some of that util with Twitch. Now they've got some pace setters on the other side of it. Vigil playing spoiler up on the 2nd floor. Castle with his extension up onto the 1st. So they've got some layers that they've got to get through to get it done.
All right, my friend, 15 seconds here into this defense, and they're holding on. A little bit of extension on the secret side, but you can see those windows and walls open. They're ready, waiting, expecting that piece of it. So the Twitch drone's walking in, trying to clear out some of this util, but it's going to get taken down by Castle before it can really get any effectiveness in place. It's a little bit of a waiting game, and things have definitely slowed down on the Entropy side. They are not playing that same crazy sort of play we saw previously.
No. Oh, man, that would have been a cheeky little play. It does a ton of damage. Ram has been reduced to literally just about nothing left onto the HP there. But still 5 alive. It's a one-shot headshot game, so she can still be that factor. First minute's gone. They might take a second look. Well, that wasn't Ram, huh? That was Maverick. Where did Ram get hurt from?
No, that was Ram was up on the rappel and it came down and was the one that took all the damage. Mavericks rotated over and is now trying to open that up, but that the Cade Claw's coming out protecting the hatches. They're gonna let the secret wall get opened up, but they still have to make this way. It's a long distance push over. But Vigil hiding on the spiral stairs. Does the attacking team know? I mean, they're approaching it cautiously, but does not know is the answer. And man, we banned Vigil on map 1, and it certainly sounds like the reason why, because Team Synq is exploiting that
Yeah, no kidding. There's a second now being had as main advantage sits into the hands of Entropy, but just by one, just barely. Putting themselves towards the backside, looking at the hallway, a little bit of intel. Potentially the push is coming that way. 51 seconds left. Entropy's got to get in and make a move. Team Sync's going to find themselves another one.
Quiet as a mouse.
That's right, protecting that hatch from getting opened up, using the two brows. You can hear that. There it is, the Mav opening up. Does Mav know? Wow, what a shot through the holes. And Vigil is just on fire right now.
Yeah, definitely the target ban that was in the first map for sure, and they are using all of it. Up on the desk now, holding a off angle. He's gonna pay the price for it. Nerd takes one. Now into a 3v2. Defense comes up again. They're gonna get the down onto Maverick, which means Ram's the last alive, and the cross is set. It's a C4 to say goodbye and good night. One closer to tying this up.
Wow. That was some great plays there by the Team Synq on their defense. The C4 in the hatch, the holding out on the bottom of the stairs, some great shots, holding on to the top of the desk, good angles being held, but also mistakes by Entropy Gaming, allowing an opportunity there through the Mav holes, not recognizing Vigil's playing there. The C4 damage through the drone hole on the secret wall. They made some mistakes. Team Synq was there to answer and exploit them. So that's the big question. We saw them take a step back, not play quite as aggressively, but they still made the mistakes, not droning on the spiral stairs. This was that was Entropy throwing a little bit, and we were at the same spot last map as well. The question mark was Team Synq winning because Entropy was throwing, or was it just great gameplay? We got one more round to figure it out, my friend. Team Synq, you said it. One round away from overtime.
Man, could you imagine? And I don't know. I think on map 1, yeah, there was some Entropy mistakes that led to the Team Synq wins. But on this one, defenders are playing like a brick wall. You just aren't breaking through that. No adaptation outside of a little bit of extra help, that global gadget of thinking. And look at that. What did we talk about Team Synq needed to do? Get active in the early game. They put a little bit of damage onto the Jackal, but it's more the mind game than actually getting the kill. Now you have to be aware that a door or a window as you're approaching the building could potentially mean death.
Nook running the shot again. Why?
Yeah,
what is this strat? Not going to be able to take the distance engagement. Going to have to back away. Yeah, you're going to play quiet, but look at this. It is a quick plant coming down, and they're going to pull off this execute.
No kidding. Just like that, they get in, they push it, and that's going to be a double ringing out, as now it's only going to be Nook with a shotgun and Blackbeard left alive. Jesus. They get one, but it's going to be too tough. The Nook shotgun is not going to be enough to get it done. Whiskey, we're going to overtime.
There it is, my friend. Overtime in place. The defenders secure it, and that is a hell of a round. A 2-5-1 halves for these teams. Consulate, defenders sided in a big way. But yeah, you got to talk about the fact that that Nook seems like a bit of a mistake, and look at this, running right into a face full of lead from Nerd, and just well played again on the attacker side. Whether or not this was an Entropy throw, it was definitely a much better round from Team Synq on the defense. Allowed them, baited them in, went for the quick plan, and then Entropy Gaming fell like dominoes.
Yeah, no, 100% that was a throw. The Nook shotgun was a throw. You could tell when on the replays there. If he has the F&G in hand, he might solidify that first kill on the rotate around, right? If he's quick, right? Then you come up to one on the door and one on the hallway. A hit, a flick, a hit, and you all of a sudden in a post plant scenario take yourself down into a 1v2, which is completely winnable. And I'm
10 seconds to
sad
go.
that the shotgun came out, but I'm happy we got some overtime.
5 seconds to go.
Battle between these two teams isn't over. If you're just joining us,
Attackers
we
are
walked
moving out to
into
locate
this
a bomb
saying
and
Team
defuse it.
Synq was potentially the slight favorite. They had the better Swiss stage. They had the better record. The more, got to the playoffs faster. Entropy Gaming struggled a little bit during Swiss, but they showed up in a huge way on Bank and at the beginning of this map. Difference though, Consulate, just two defenders sided right now in the ESA Cup.
All right, so what are we seeing? Area denial. This is the same setup we saw before. Deny the area, deny the intel, and deny the projectiles. Deny on both sides. Yours and will mine. Good defensive setup. It's worked in the past. We'll see if it plays out here yet again.
Gonna work on opening up all these windows, a little bit of ghost pressure all over on the top side, and give those entry points for the Flores drones. Got a couple key pieces of this defensive util they gotta clear, specifically that deployable shield holding on to the bending hallway, and then also getting rid of that barbed wire. They have to deal with the mute jammers as well, which right now playing a little bit of a problem here with the drones walking in.
Flores drone getting in and getting rid of some of that extension util, some barbed wire off the stairs, and look at this, Ace just making his way in. Now, Ace was that first kill one of the last times they made this push, so if he has a little bit more success as he starts making the push up, and there is the deployable they got to deal with, and this time hasn't been quite dealt with yet. Oh, a whiff from Ace is going to see
What a
him
shot.
back into the vending, and now defense finds themselves down in the man advantage. They're in the body deficit.
That is such a good angle holding on, and this time Warden crosses that angle again. The nade placed perfectly gets him out of the corner, but he survives. He doesn't get to run back into the corner this time around, but man, I can't believe that Warden has been able to play that location. We've now seen it, I think, on both sides of the map, and just a bit of a miss holding that angle.
Yeah, no kidding. Here's the play, though. Nook has made their way all the way up yellow currently. So potential to catch one off guard. He's got the FNG in hand, so multi-kill action is definitely a possibility. A quick pre-fire from Spiral is going to draw the attention, allow the Nook to maybe push up a little bit farther, take a little bit more of that space, and there it is. They're going to find it. Rise gets one off the board. A second falls as the L85 claims out. They're just going to keep trading back and forth, and now that's the plant going down. And it's a flawless round. They get it done on attack. You bring the right operators, you bring the right strat, you check all the boxes, and you find one on attack.
Boy, after going 5-1 on their attacking or defending half and then losing 5-1 on their attacking half, that is a huge victory there for Entropy on that second floor site. They didn't even win a second floor on the previous 5 rounds. They only found success on that first floor piano. So now, where is the battle going to take place? The basement. The only place that Team Synq found success on their attacking half to start this round off was on the second floor. So we only saw basement one time. Not a lot of strats, a lot of tactics here shown from the Entropy Gaming side, hoping they can again catch Team Synq off guard. They're looking for a win in 14 and avoid that double overtime, but Synq, now all of the pressure is on this team because it's not just match point, map points, and upper bracket points. Entropy Gaming 1 round away from moving on the upper and sending Team Synq to the lower bracket run.
Attackers' objective is to locate a
give
bomb.
Them one opening, and they just absolutely ran with it. That was a great round by Entropy, and on attack, and now they're defending. Ooh, this feels like a tough situation. They've got some intel. Mozzie brings out that mobile intel. They've got a little bit of deny for the wall and for the area and for the intel. Doubled up on intel, actually.
Bomb located by attackers.
And a pretty standard setup here by the attack as well. You got your spearhead, you got your potential flank. Just get that main wall opened up, and then start to try to force off whatever vertical pressure you have. Push them back into sight. Catch them slipping with the Nook. Did they miss?
It's just
miss it?
everything was falling apart from an attacking standpoint. They missed the EMP, they don't hit the mute jammer, they can't get the drone in, they don't drop the electricity. Nothing freaking worked for them right there. They're going to leave that wall shut down. Thermite still has got 2 in pocket, and boy, Pizza goes down. He is 12, 11, and 3. One of the main kill leaders for this team. That was a huge pick to open it up.
That's right. Now Blitz onto the Mozzies. He tries to make the rotate out of there. Close the C4 to go out. Takes a couple of shots, and he's going to be rewarded with it. Now into a 4v3. Definitely the attack team starting to feel the pressure here as they now are in the body deficit, and the time will start to tick down.
And they have got their work cut out for him. You need this Ash, Nerd, FOD. You've got to come together. They still have got plenty of offensive utility. The problem is you have got a very large roam game here. Vigil upstairs on the second floor. 2 players on the first floor, and it's only Cade holding down the basement for what is a basement bomb site. They go looking for him and lose the battle. That is potentially the nail in the coffin. Synq, you've got 1 minute left. 2 players in a 2v4. Press the advantage, my friends. It's your time or nothing.
That's right. Defenders have got to be clinical to bring this one back. I mean, attackers have got to be clinical to bring this one back. And Nerd, he was 0-4 when he made, 0-4 through that first 4 rounds. So if anybody can bring it back, they can. Now into a 2-2 as they're looking to try to tie this one back up. A 2-2, a lot more winnable. There's still some Goyos on the board, so that's going to stop the push from Yellow. They understand maybe that he's there as well. So on the first floor stairs, the pinch is in place. Eventually take him down, and that will take us into a 2v1. Holding on, it's pixel peeking perfection.
15 seconds remaining.
They're both looking on it. 15 seconds, 2v2. It's now starting to count down. That's going to be a vector to find one. The pinch onto Yellow starting to happen. Pressure onto the pillar. They find it, and that's it with the final kill. They don't just win the round. They plant their flag in the playoffs. First map goes their way. They were not here to play it safe. They make a statement as they move in the upper bracket.
Big GG's to Entropy Gaming as they take first bank 7-3 victory and then 8-6 victory on the second map on Consulate, winning both their map pick and Team Synq's, and that is an unfortunate loss for that team. They put up a hell of a battle on their map pick, but the attacking win by Entropy back on round 13, that was the difference maker. They showed up when they needed to. Now, there's going to be some questions about whether or not they threw that round 12. They could have potentially won it in regulation, but they closed it out in overtime just when they needed to.
Yeah, no kidding. It was just back and forth. It's everything you want in the playoffs. Playoffs are the magic, it's the story, and Team Synq almost writ themselves a great storyline. Entropy, they were just better. They were clinical. They TED Talked both maps and showed you exactly how to push, how to hold, how to extend. It was just great gameplay out of them. Let's take a quick look, Whiskey. Updated bracket in our hands, and we'll see where everybody's sitting.
That's right. Game 1, day 1 done here in the playoffs, and it is Entropy holding on to that upper bracket spot. Team Synq going down to the lower. They're going to take on that Molotov gang, and whether or not this upper bracket side, is it going to be a little bit more dangerous? That Ghost Army, that was the top spot. That's the one to be watching out for. The team to be looking out for as the playoffs continue throughout the rest of this week and next as we get closer to find out who is going to be the ESA Cup Season 10 champions.
Man, so more Siege definitely coming your way. We're counting down the day. Nexus taking off Molotov Gang. And that is Molotov Gang. That is a name that you know and love in the ESA Cup. And of course, Whiskey and I have casted them before. This is going to be a big game and another difference maker. Who will be sent down? Who will be moving on in the upper? It's all happening here. Man, it is an exciting Season 10 for ESA Cup run.
Yeah, what a great start to the playoffs. That was a fantastic game between the two. Again, congratulations to Entropy Gaming to pick up that first playoff win, the ESA Season 10. But I appreciate it. We appreciate everything that the ESA staff is doing here to bring Console Siege to the EU region. We're glad to be a part of it.
Yep, absolutely. If you like us, if you love us, if you hate us, why don't you add us? You can find us on Twitter, where it all goes down, everything R6 related. I'm at glitter_whiskey. He's at racing ENGR. And together we are at the Siege Double Shot, bringing you T4 to T1 and everything in between. But alas, for us, we must bid you adieu. So as the lights start to dim and the jukebox starts to sing closing time, as always, my friends, you don't have to go home.
But you can't stay here.
Ayo.
Let's go. Of mine, and then get pushed back.
That's right. 2 members on blue as the yings are ringing out.